Errol Wiseman back with you, editor-in-chief of the Suburban, premiere show of the Suburban Radio Hour, where we're going to bring you the news, the features, the entertainment, the sighting news, and now sports, everything from the paper, everything we're working on for next week. And this section of the Suburban Radio Hour, the sports section, is brought to you by the Montéal Toundra. Get your tickets at MTL Toundra, MTLToundra.com. Mark Lidbetter, sports editor par excellence.
How you doing, Beryl?
How are you, Mark? What's up from last week? I see we have a Hall of Famer.
Yes,
from
sir.
From NDG.
Yes, sir. That's Russell Martin. When the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame announced their class of 24, there were 6 inductees, and Russell Martin was among that group. And when we were talking, he told me it's a life's work achievement. I'm definitely grateful to be in the company with other greats that have been around the game of baseball in Canada, but I'm really just honored. But Russell, I'm telling you, this kid, he grew up in NDG playing with the minor baseball program there. He went to the national team with the junior national team, and then he was drafted by the Dodgers back in 2002. He had a 14-year career, and in 14 years with the Dodgers, 14 years in the majors, he made the postseason 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and he made the rounds. He played with the Dodgers, with the Yankees. He was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he had a good stint with the Toronto Blue Jays before he ended up going back to finish his season where it all began.
I often notice, maybe this is wrong, and it's certainly anecdotal, but when I read stories of baseball players who've been a number of teams, why is my imagination, or are a lot of them making a pass-through to the Pittsburgh Pirates organization?
The Pirates seem to keel haul a lot of the players and get them at least, for a little bit.
Is it the organization or is it the geography?
It seems to be that they always seek out what they need, and it's like they're always rebuilding. So they need a body, they'll make a trade, they'll sign the free agent.
Now, Russell's been really great in community as well here.
Yes, he's been here.
Much loved.
Yeah, he's been here. He's revisited NDG when he's been. He's down in Arizona right now, though. He's spending a lot of family time. He's got 3 daughters that he's chasing around. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest influences, and that's why he's good in the community, is the fact of Russell Martin Sr., his dad, who Russell credits with coaching him for most of his minor ball and taking him to 40, 50 Expos games when he was a kid. They would always do a lunch, because Russell said those hamburgers and hot dogs were expensive at Olympic Stadium. But the biggest thrill came when, with the Blue Jays, playing preseason baseball at the big Olympic Stadium against the Red Sox, his dad on the mound playing the national anthem on the saxophone. And Russell said, I definitely had to hold back the tears on that one. But I'll tell you, this guy, he's won a Silver Slugger. He's won a Gold Glove. He's been the Defensive Player of the Year for the National League and all of Major League Baseball. And of all the players in the top 10 Canadian players in the Major League, he leads in most of the categories. So just great. And
superb. Yeah,
in June in St. Mary's, Ontario, he gets to go into the Hall of Fame.
Terrific.
And there's a good battery there now because you've got a lot of the players that are in there. And who's a good pitcher from Chatham, Ontario? Mike?
Ferguson Jenkins.
I interviewed him many times.
Yeah.
When he played for the Cubs.
And I got to interject because Black History Month.
Yeah.
I'm real. Ferguson Jenkins' family actually came to Chatham because Chatham was one of the major cities on the Underground Railroad, helping blacks escape the American South in the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s.
And you should get in touch with Ferguson because he's got his own line of cigars now. Just as Larry...
own line of cigars?
Yes, just as Larry Walker's put out his own brand.
And where does he live now, Jenkins?
He's down in, I think he's in Arizona too, but he spends a lot of time travel. He was just in Texas at a thing for the Rangers because he played for them. But he manages to come back to the Hall of Fame ceremonies most of the time in the summer.
Who else really stands out as a Canadian in the major. I mean, we remember Claude Raymond, but it's been a long time since I can remember a Canadian in the major. Not at the Montreal Expo or
No.
Toronto Blue Jay, but a Canadian.
Well, the thing is, you've got a bunch of Canadians now because a lot of the programs are going through ABC, the Academy Baseball Canada, or the
Okay,
Canadian
yeah.
Baseball Academy. So there's that drive to build these kids up. They're getting drafted. Some are signing as free agents, but you've got a good, I think the number came out, there's about 23 Canadians playing in the majors this year.
Okay, it's not a bad compliment.
Yeah. We're getting there.
You did one of your puns in a headline, I noticed, but I'm not sure everybody's going to know where the pun was intended.
The fans of the teams will. Because
Okay, well, maybe you should explain it.
Yeah.
Some of them can hear.
You had the Loyola High School U18 Division III team hosting.
No, read the headline.
Okay, the Loyola Rams way past VMC in a shootout win.
Anybody, Anthony, Mike, anybody know what the operative pun word is in that headline? Loyola Rams way past VMC and shutout win. Nothing. They're passing on this.
I
Marco, you know, producer Marco Campagna, the great Marco Campagna. Okay, tell us.
The Vincent Massey Collegiate Rams. That's the name of their team.
I should know that since they're part of the MSB.
There you go.
I'm surprised you didn't put Loyola Rams way past VMC Ews, EWES.
I'll use that next time.
You perfect pickup. Listeners, there's a reason why Mark's email address is Lidlines. Nobody does this better.
Thank you, sir. No, but it was a great game. It was a 5-4 comeback shootout win for Loyola. VMC, they'd grab a lead, and then Loyola would find a way to battle back. They ended up tying it before regulation time ran out, and it went to a shootout. And it was Loyola owning the shootout session. What was nice was that Owen Rooney from Loyola, he helped to pace the win. He had a 2-goal game, and he was successful in the one-on-one challenge. Tegan Foster of the Rams, he potted a pair of goals, and he also was successful in the shootout round. But the big difference was with Loyola holding a lead and the potential tying goal going, Noah Humes stopped that potential tying goal. And why it's great is because Humes was a call-up from the younger squad to play for the U18 team in that game. So he was just brilliant between the pipes. And this is the type of hockey action that people can see.
We have to give a shout out to Bakra. And I don't mean Bakra Manai, who should resign, but that's an editorial comment. BKRA.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, you had the Point Claire Power. They surged to tie BKRA, which is the Beaconsfield Kirkland Ringette Association. And that was a real tight contest against a pair of next-door rivals because, you know, BK, Kirkland is right there and Point Claire's right there, so they've been long-time rivals. But Point Claire came back and they earned a 4-4 draw in the Lac St. Louis Regional Ringette Cadet B play. Now, Point Claire's Amanda Bocor figured in on all 4 of Point Claire goals. She had a trio of tallies, and that included the equalizer that she scored late in the second half of the game. And then she had an assist on the other goal. Now, power goaltender Miriam Dussault, she kept her team in the hunt because BK definitely held the advantage of play. They had a lot more shots on her. And BK's captain, Alexa Seda, she led the way for her team. She had a pair of goals and an assist. Cassia Anderson was good for a goal and an assist, as was Muscata Bangura in the 4-4 deadlock. So, I mean, it was just, you know, Ringette, and this is for Karen Cross, our...
So help me, I was just about to mention that Karen Cross made us all aware of how big Ringette is.
It's a fantastic game. It's a fast-paced game. You got a 30-second shot clock. You can't go coast to coast like in hockey. You got to pass out of your zone.
And there's a lot of people involved in this.
Yes,
This
sir.
is not a side little endeavor.
No, and there's even World Championships. You've got a Team Canada. It's big in the Canada Winter Games when all the provinces play
Right.
each other. And as a matter of fact, they start in the bunnies, they call them, which would be like the
You don't-
pre-novice.
Anthony, he said bunnies.
I
Mike, he
figured
said-
I'd trigger you. Mike Matheson of the Montreal Canadiens, assistant captain on defense.
And
He started his sports career on ice playing ringette because his mother was in
Really?
charge of the Point Claire bunny program.
And Mark Lidbetter covered him.
That's right, and that's where he learned to skate, and that's where he learned to be such a great passer, because it's a passing game.
Okay. Mark Lidbetter, thank you very much. Great sport report as always, and this sports segment of the Suburban Radio Hour was brought to you by the Montéal Toundra. Get your tickets at MTL Toundra. Montéal Toundra. There's a U in there. I'm sorry, there's an O before the U. MTL Toundra.com. Montéal, thank you for listening to this premiere episode of the Suburban Radio Hour, which will come to you every Sunday night with my colleagues, Anthony Bonaparte, features editor, Mark Lidbetter, sports editor, Mike Cohen, everything you need to know on Entertainment Society. And let me just conclude this week's show with Editor's Corner, if you like. You'll see the story in the paper. You'll see our editorial, which I do encourage you to read. It's called The First Step, but vigilance on Concordia must be maintained. Concordia University canceled an invitation to a guy named Sami Hamdi. He's a British commentator who cheered and celebrated the October 7th attack in Israel. Now, Concordia has been, as many of you know, a hotbed of anti-Semitism, and not just anti-Semitism, but it's been a staging area for a group of activists that we can call Islamists who go beyond Israel. They want to impose their view of the world on everybody, and they're realizing now that the more they get out there in all these demonstrations with some of the most venal and absurd comments, that they're losing support everywhere. But for Concordia to take this step, it's a good first step. But Concordia's history has not been one of vigilance. We'll see what's going to happen because they are having a disciplinary hearing for Bara Abu Hamed. Now, Bara Abu Hamed was involved in the November assaults on Jewish students at a Shabbat table. He has led many demonstrations in the streets. He's been on, with some of them, as I said, some of the most vile vitriol spewed. And to top things off, at Carrefour Laval, around Christmas, he decided to assault a police officer, and he and his friends trespassed inside a closed area, a private area, and stopped shoppers from moving around. So his trial is coming up March 25th. But more importantly, Concordia is having a disciplinary hearing about him because he has been a long time, in quotations, part-time student. So this is a story we're going to be writing up this week, and we're going to be following, and it will tell very much about the direction and the sincerity of where Concordia is going to go in protecting all students, but particularly in this case, it's Jewish students. I thank you very much for listening. I thank my colleagues again. Look forward to being back with you next Sunday, 7 p.m. with the Suburban Radio Hour. And thank you to Marco Campagno, producer par excellence.